Facebook friends and family. Aloha, aloha, aloha. So this video is spiritual reality is ... because it's interesting. We have this physical reality, but it's built from spiritual reality. And a lot of people don't understand that. There's this very interesting separated consciousness that happens. But the truth is that spiritual reality is physical reality. It's being expressed through physical reality. And what really needs to happen is that we need to be more conscious, right, of that happening. So if you're here with me live, give me an aloha, give me a hi. And if you're here watching the replay, just say replay. So one of the things with the ... is I would say when you first decide to bring your consciousness into spiritual reality while you're in physical reality, it can seem messy. It can seem overwhelming. It can seem confusing. And it's because, right, we are not taught how to build our physical system as a clear perceptor or sensor or transmitter of spiritual reality, which is kind of, we can call it the unseen, the unknown, the unfelt, the unheard. We can call it all those things. But we are not taught, right, how to be present in our body, which is very much a base requirement. If you look at a lot of mystery schools, there's a lot of understanding how to sense through the body. And also there's a lot of purification processes that are required in order for you to grow and evolve through, be informed by the most coherent spiritual information as you are moving and growing and evolving through physical reality and growing through physical reality as well. But everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. It doesn't, there's nothing that's not, right? There's nothing that's not. So it's an interesting process, and I could see why when we go into religions, they give you a way of operating through, and connecting with spirit, right? These are the ways to do it, right? And part of the reason is because if you a lot of people, what they do is they just start being open to spirit. And when you're just open to spirit, you're not defining the relationship. You're not giving that relationship definition, direction, or purpose. Those are three very key elements when you are connecting into spiritual reality. So it's like going into the wild, wild west. You don't have a map. You don't understand why you're there. You don't even know what you're looking for. You don't know how to tell, soul-aligned spiritual support from detrimental spiritual beings. But we end up, if you actually spend time there, then it's not even like you're there, you're here, right? Which is there too. And you eventually develop a library of understanding in your mind. And like I've said before, our mind has a known library, right? It has a known library through our conscious awareness. This is what I know. This is what I've experienced before. I've read this word before, right? I've seen that kind of tree before. But spiritual reality is a place where the library of understanding comes from our soul, comes from connecting with our soul. So it's interesting because we have people who really, some people come into spirituality because they had a bad experience with religion, whatever that experience was. And then they poo-poo the religion, but then they still bring kind of some of the religious practices into the spirituality. And so it's just an interesting thing to understand. You have to understand that when you first start connecting to spirit, whatever it is, or starting to be interested in spirituality, and knowing yourself on that level, because that's the point, right? Of knowing yourself on a deeper level, cultivating self on a deeper level. And when we, when we're there, when we're basically like in that space, when there means that space where we're starting to engage and we're starting to take in spiritual concepts. You're opening up doors, you're opening up portals, you're opening up gateways. It's why people feel kind of stifled by religion in some ways, like at least I would say in my experience with clients, because it feels like, well, that door's been shut, and I've been blocked from understanding certain things because I wasn't allowed to go through that door in religion. Right? But the spiritual realms are tricky because we also have this, we think, oh my goodness, when we start going into the spiritual realms, it should be all love and light and all beautiful. Well, you have to you detox first. You detox a lot of things when you start to basically be present in your body and to spirit at the same time. That's what happens when you make the choice to be present in your body and spirit at the same time. You've got to detox the communication space. And because let's say we're talking about, if I just will use source, right? So I want to connect, right? I want to be more conscious of source and how the energy of source and how it moves and what understanding is there, what wisdom is there. Well, you have to fold the space between you and source, right? It's like a folding of space and time. But in that folding of space and time, to get you into that more source-based consciousness coming through you, you have to detox what is not that. And we have been programmed with a lot of stuff through this lifetime and other lifetimes, because we're also clearing other realities when we do this, when we're present in our body. I'm going to take a sip of water. So spiritual reality can feel messy, and then what happens is people will take on, well, I need to figure out how to operate here, so I'll read this book, I'll do this person's way. Well, maybe that's not your way. Maybe that's not your way, and the relationship you're cultivating with spirit may not be aligned for you in what you've come here to do, say, be, how you've come to be of service to others. You may be doing it in a way that is not your way. And then what'll happen is things will eventually fall apart if you're not engaging in that way that is aligned for you. Things will definitely fall apart. And I've been doing this for a long time. so I'm sharing just basically this framework of understanding and wisdom and experience, and also just helping and assisting clients the same way. To understanding that once we really get that, where we decide, right? We decide, okay, like I need to explore what spirit, the world of spirit is, the world of the unseen, unknown, unheard, this empty space that's actually full around me. Then be prepared, because that energy, there are, I would say, beings or shapes of consciousness in that spiritual reality, aloha, Elaine, that will actually feel overwhelming, or will, they'll test your mettle in a way. Some of them will test your mettle. Some of them want to see like how upright of a force you are in your own body. Are you clear enough mentally and emotionally to withstand the chaos and confusion that could exist when you tune into something that you have no library of understanding for? And that's, again, like I said, that's where your soul comes in, because your soul is the translator between you and the unseen, between you and the unknown, between you and spirit. That's what your soul is meant to do. It's to help you translate what you are sensing, perceiving, receiving. So it's your translation device, and a lot of people just kind of ignore it. They don't do this work, which, I'm all about this work of being present in your body and first just receiving your own soul in your body. What's that like first before you start? It's kind of like if you're going to engage with spiritual realms and realities and different types of spiritual beings, you want to be as coherent as you can be. I'm not saying you have to spend thousands of years cultivating, but you want to be in a specific physical, energetic alignment so that you can't be effed with, so that you can also translate what's happening in the moment. And even in the moment, if you feel overwhelmed, then you can't translate it in the moment. It's not, I would say, not that you can't, but maybe it's like you feel wobbly or unsure. You can always revisit. You can always leave that reality, come back into physical reality, and your soul will help you understand what's going on. We are in a whirlwind of consciousness, of psychic soup of stuff all the time. We have thought forms all over the place. And, for me, I'd say the big theme for me in this life, or what I've really tried to cultivate and understand and help my clients do the same, is if I want to fully embody my creator essence or my creative or co-creative abilities based on, being a creator being, what does that require? What does that require of me physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? What is the physical alignment I need to have? What is the mental alignment I need to have? The emotional alignment and the spiritual alignment I need to have in order to fully embody being, being a creator being. So that's, for me, what I've endeavored to understand. And I feel like that's who we really are. And that's why there's this huge agenda to get us to lay down our creative abilities and our creator essence. Because those people that are, or those beings, those that are perpetuating that agenda, they don't want, creation has a lot of power. Embodying your creative abilities has a lot of power. And it is a power that they don't want us to have. But it's our own birthright. And you think about it, this starts at birth. This starts at birth. This starts in the way that they've shaped the whole birthing experience. How we have to register the birth with the state. As if you're some kind of, new product. This begins, you understand? There. And we have a lot of other factors, that our parents are indoctrinated in a system, if we have siblings, our extended family, our friends, culture, society, and all of those things, right? All those things, in a way, like you feel the layers of infiltration of agenda from the moment of birth. So it's interesting, and so that's part of it, is if you understand that you're a creator. So part of it is like, you're a creator, your thoughts create, we have the capacity, if we can create thought forms, we can create physical forms. So how do we do that? And then we have to have the alignment of spiritual, emotional, mental. It's actually, spiritual. It's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. That's the order. And then, so if you have that, right, you have to translate clearly through all of those levels to be able to bring something physical into form with a thought. And I know I've spoken about that before. So it's why I think, for me, that's why I want to engage in spiritual reality. I have a very clear definition of why. I have a very clear direction. I have a very clear purpose. And what's interesting to think about is, what if your initiatory step into connecting the spirit came from trauma? Meaning you made that decision based on a wound, based on understanding a wound. Now, there are specific ways to understand wounds, because we could just keep looking for the victim stance answers to why, to this wound, or we could ask, we can go back and change that initiatory step into connecting with spirit and make it more empowering. Change the inquiry, change the need for relief, for healing, for understanding, for integration that you're seeking in spiritual reality. Change it so it's not constantly seeking to fill this, to heal this wound. Meaning, you can come at it from a victim understanding, and you'll just constantly get answers that help you understand the victim mentality. Or you can change it. You can go back in your mindset and say, I want to change my definition, direction, and purpose here with spirit. Right? I'm no longer available to engage in in victim communication with spirit. And I am available, however, to speak the language of soul and empowerment and alignment and coherence with spirit. And so you want to understand, you want to look at that, whatever that wound, that trauma is, and understand how to transcend it, right? Can you look at that wound and understand that, yes, like, we may feel victims sometimes, that it's not wrong to feel that, but we don't want to keep it's like staying on the victim path, right? We don't want to stay there. We understand, I had a victim experience here. How can I really learn? How can I actually look at this from a different perspective so that it's more empowering for me, so it's more in alignment for me and the connection with my soul, source, Mother Earth. Those are ways you can start to switch. Because spirit recognizes that. It's kind of like you initiate into spirit, you initiate into this connection, you initiate onto a path. And so now you have this opportunity to go back and say, okay, I'm going to redefine, redirect, and give a more coherent purpose to my relationship with spirituality, spiritual reality, spiritual realms, spiritual beings, and see what happens. See what kind of shift you experience with that, because I feel like it's time to understand that we're going to have to look at our shadows. That's something we do our whole life. If we're in a body, we're creating a shadow. And so, but we don't have to get stuck there. And we can understand that that it serves a purpose. And we don't have to get kind of go on because it's that's what I'm saying. It's okay to have a victim experience. We want to sit here and go, I was never a victim. I'm because then it's like creating a rigidity, and it's like saying, okay, I had this victim experience here, but I really want to see it from the most empowering perspective, or the most coherent perspective for me, or the perspective that allows me to embody my creator essence. So there are a lot of different ways to ask that. That would be more empowering and keep you in alignment. So, and that's why I'm saying, like, when I see people first kind of like exploring this, and if they're like me and they didn't really have any religion to drag into that experience, or even if they drag their religion into the experience, or it doesn't matter really, because you drag in a whole bunch of perceptions, you drag in a whole bunch of beliefs and programs. Well, in a way, spirit is like a reflecting pool. So you might have like a really benevolent spiritual being, right, on the other side of the reflection. But in between is a frequency fence that's been created through your, mental and emotional forms that you create, whether they be of pain, of anger, of fear, whatever they are. And that maybe you have this benevolent spiritual being, but you keep feeling, as you're connecting to it, you keep feeling just a backlash of what you've already created. So then you kind of vilify the spiritual being. That happens as well. But then you also have spiritual beings that will try to amplify those feelings because they want to feed off of them. And then this is about discernment, right? This is about discerning. And the key is, again, like I said in the beginning, being present in the body, to your breath, to your heart, to your soul, while you're present and grounded and centered in your body. And that's the foundation. That's the place to start. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to tag me below. And lots of joy and aloha to you all. Bye.